Is it on? Just joking, guys. It's Kirsty Adams here. Hello everyone at the Arco Project. I'm so excited to be having this conversation about music, everything music, and just imparting a little bit of my wisdom on what goes on in the music world to, I don't know, maybe just helping you guys out with paving the way to your flourishing music careers. Before I do that though, I'm gonna show you guys around my space where all the musical magic happens. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the pathway to where all the music happens. So it's a bit of a fixer-upper because it's not my place, and you will see how fixer-upperish it is. But this is basically my temporary spot for recording music. As you can see here, I've got my laptop here set up, linked to my what is called a USB mic, which I bought for the lockdown because I don't own a studio myself. And this is where I've recorded some melodies going on. Here is actually a score of Mozart's that I actually bought this in Austria when I was there. When I was in Salzburg, actually. It's really nice. I went to go visit his birthplace. How lovely is this outside? And then this is where things actually happen. This is where the creative process happens a lot of the time. And this is where you'll see it looks a bit more fixer-upperish. Yeah, these are like my guitars. It's actually technically not mine. The one on this side is one given to me by a really good friend of mine. I still need to get it restrung, as you can see there, because yeah, it needs strings and I really need to just start playing on it. And then this one's also given to me by a really good friend of mine to just use. So the difference between these two is obviously that the one's acoustic and the other one is electric. Yeah. And then the reason why there's a desk here is because I do some videos where I need a desk and I need to do some Zoom calls. And then sometimes I'll hang like a green screen on this shelf so that I can have like a virtual background. And then here are my beloved instruments, my lovely acoustic violin and my electric violin. And here's my keyboard. I've left this mic sitting here because I'm currently using my mic stand for the other recording mic. Yeah, so that's where it is at the moment. The reason why I have a mirror there is because when I'm sitting and I'm singing, then I need to see what my posture looks like. The only thing I'm missing here is plants, because I always feel like plants complete the room. So I'm just gonna play to you what my acoustic violin sounds like. I'm sure you guys have heard what it sounds like, but I have a reason for playing it to you because I want you to hear the difference between the acoustic violin and the electric violin. So this is a melody from one of my songs called Fly Away. Carry tune. Oh my gosh, this is the electric violin. So this is where I spend a lot of my late nights writing songs about my relationships, writing about lockdown, just everything I'm feeling right now. Midnight's my best time because that's when I feel like the world is mine and I can just tune into myself and write. This is another song that I played earlier called Fly Away. I thought I'd just sing it to you. Fly, fly away on my mind all the day. Fly, fly away on my mind all the day. Great, so now that you've seen the context of Kirsty's musical making hub, I think it's fair that we jump into the questions. So before I go on, I just want to formally introduce myself as Kirsty Adams, singer, songwriter, violinist, and philanthropist. So I've had two wonderful question askers, interviewers, let's call it that. Kanye and Andiswa have asked me fabulous questions. The first few questions are from Kanye. The first one is, I wondered if you could have a stage name, what would it be? So, secret. My stage name is Kirsty Adams, but what I will tell you is that my real name is Kirsten Nicole Adams. Yeah, that's on my ID, guys. I would like to actually end this answer off with a question of asking you guys what you think my stage name should be. Do you think being a female artist puts more pressure on you, and how so? This question I really liked. I started a social media platform over the lockdown called Fem Arts Cape Town, and the purpose of this platform is to unite, to empower, and to normalize the presence of female artists in the South African music and just generally arts industry. And within that purpose, you'll figure out that there is a lack of representation of female artists in the South African music industry. I say this with experience because whenever I look at a lineup of a festival, like a music festival, for those of you that don't know what a lineup is basically the list of artists that are going to be playing or performing at the music festival. When I look at these lineups, I often see the male artists outnumbering female artists. And people have gotten better with this, but it's a slow progress and it still needs a lot of change. In that sense, there is a pressure on female artists because when you are chosen amongst very few female artists to be on stage, you feel this immense pressure to be able to represent your people, represent your female artists, your fellow female artists. The reason why there's also pressure is also because this might be unpopular opinion, but in my eyes, I often see people employing the female artists to provide the image for the music performance. As you probably know, the female body and the woman is often sexualized in society. So our bodies are basically the appeal to the audience. That's not fair because that's not crediting us for our intellectual ability and our skill. That is why you have people like Billie Eilish that are dressing in baggy clothes so they can make a statement about that they're worth more than their image or their bodies actually. So yeah, there's that pressure on being more very skillful. On the other hand, I don't experience that pressure because I know that I'm good. I know that I'm good at what I do, and when I'm on stage, I just get this intense rush to be able to perform an outstanding performance to my audience. And when you're confident in that truth, then nothing really bothers your performance. Okay, next question. What advice do you have for fellow young female musicians? I love giving this advice because it's always changing for me because I'm still growing. But what I have to say about this is find yourself and let it show in your art. And I say this very much from a music writing perspective, a songwriting or composing perspective. It is normal to model those that came before you because they represent what's exceptional to you. This is especially for the beginning. So it is normal to model those that come before you and that made music look exceptional to you. And through modeling these versions of exceptional, you'll start to find your own exceptional. It's an evolution that is constantly evolving and inviting reincarnations of the legends that came before. And you can be that just by being true to yourself. Another piece of advice is learn the importance of the word no. And you will get to understand this once you've found yourself, once you've grounded yourself. And being able to say no to certain things will shape what you want to represent, because it's confusing to be someone that just accepts anything. The next question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Okay, so I see myself completing my songwriting degree at New York University within the next 2 to 3 years. I see my music being featured in the most prominent film and series that are globally recognized. And I see Femme Arts Cape Town empowering South African female artists at a very maximum level, hopefully being able to sponsor these female artists in ways that other foundations cannot. How do you manage all the things that you do? I think it's best to explain to you guys like everything that I do in my music career. I manage myself, and I'm yet to find a manager, but I manage myself independently, and part of that is to be able to network, to be able to do administration, to be able to create your own marketing material. So that is things like business cards, also your social media, because that's where people are going to see what you do. It's a very technological world, and getting to know technology is going to work in your favor very much as an artist. Legal papers that I have to sort out for myself, like making sure that I sign the documents that enable me to earn from every time that my music plays on the radio. Those are called team music rights. So that's the managing part. And then of course it's everything that you know about music: writing the music, practicing the music, organizing bands, the people that are going to work with you to create your music. In my case, organizing people to help record my music. On top of that is managing Femme Arts Cape Town, which encompasses everything that I've said above, as well as producing my own music videos and finding bursaries and sponsorship for my studies at New York University. That's another thing. So all of this planning and all of this managing of all these tasks comes down to 2 things, which is self-care and time management. And I say it in that order because self-care definitely comes first, to be able to get yourself in the right headspace and body space. My self-care routine, let's call it, consists of, so when I wake up in the morning, I make sure that I am recognizing 3 things that I'm grateful for, and then I meditate, and then I do some exercise. Usually it's a plank in the morning. Oh my gosh, I tell everyone this, that a plank just really like gets you in a really good mood. And obviously I take a shower and then I go about my day. And then at the end of the day, I make sure that I write down what I have to do for the next day. And then I just journal at the end of the evening about what I'm grateful for again and what I can do better. Next question is, what do you really want to achieve in life? Well, the answer is quite simple. I want to be part of something great and revolutionary on behalf of the female artists in the global music industry. I want to be able to perform all of this with kindness and to show people that it can be done with kindness. Do you ever get tired of doing all these things and just want to stop and sleep the whole day? Oh my gosh! Yes. So the long answer to this is there are 2 kinds of busy and tired. You get the good kind of busy and tired, and you get the bad kind of busy and tired. Unfortunately, you can't skip either one, because no matter what career path you take, you're going to encounter the ugly bits and the bad bits. But if the good busy and tired supersedes the bad busy and tired, then you're definitely on track. And the good busy and tired is what I feel, especially after a really good music recording and a really good music video shoot. No matter how hard it was for me to find the musicians to take part in it, to find the producer to produce my track, I need someone to do the electrical engineering for my songs. It is just so rewarding when you can work with creatives and just celebrate this creation that you've made, especially when you just send it out into the world. It's the most rewarding thing in the world. Yeah. And I hope you guys feel that too when you make music. I'm going to move on to Andiswa's questions. The first question is, do you think music can be used as a platform to unify people? Absolutely. Music is like glue, or rather like a thread that just ties everything together. In film music, The music sets the scene more than the scene itself actually does. The process of making music itself brings people together to make the music, and once the music is made, there is space for celebrating, and those very same people can celebrate in the same way that you would see other people celebrating music, which is to dance to it, to groove to it. And there are opportunities to listen to music together, to be able to criticize music, to be able to compare your tastes. Apparently, if you want to be in a successful relationship, you have to have the same music taste. Music is like glue. So music is prominently dominated by Western composers and musicians. How best can we bring the indigenous part of it to stand out? This is a very good question because it is very difficult. Bringing indigenous parts of music into the Western music institution. Practically all the South African tertiary institutions are governed by Western music practice. And to bring indigenous parts into this is very difficult because you've got curriculums from years, centuries back, prescribing to you how to conduct music theory in a Western classical way, how to play your instrument in a Western classical way, and how to go about listening to music in a Western classical way. Now, this is something that has been needed to be addressed for a long time and is starting to be addressed. And I say this as a colored woman myself from South Africa who has experienced much difficulty relating to my own instrument. Where my family comes from, what we listen to is completely different to those that listen to classical music on a daily basis. So in my family, we listen to a lot of R&B, jazz music, and pop music. And because of this, I found it quite jarring to learn the violin from a Western classical point of view, to the point where I got to that point where I was just like, I'm going to play the music that I know in my own time on my instrument so that I can feel a bit more connected with my instrument, and so I did, and that has been very rewarding. In terms of bringing the indigenous part out, I would encourage you guys to, at this point in time, perform the music that you find indigenous and true to your roots on your instrument. While you do this, start to figure out ways of how you can have this conversation with your teachers. Sit down and have a civil conversation about how we can change the curriculum to accommodate my indigenous roots so that I can feel more connected to my instrument. We are slowly building a portfolio of change makers in this world that can start integrating these styles of music into music practice, and I believe those people are you. So I just want to encourage you to have these civil conversations with your teachers and start to map out how you guys can actually be the pioneers of the music of your roots in a normal music institution curriculum. The next question is, can the environment or our upbringing affect how a person views music? This is 100% true. So like I was telling you guys earlier, my family and I grew up with more of the R&B music, the jazz music, and pop music. When I encountered classical music for the first time, which was in primary school when I was around about 5 years old, I was very intrigued by the sound, but I could not relate to it because it was not familiar to me. And as I started learning more about this style, I started to incorporate it into my being, and it has led me to this point right now where I can appreciate all kinds of music as long as they have some kind of compositional interest in combination with very visceral feeling. And what I mean by visceral is just literally you feel the music in your gut, and that is what I aim to do in my own music. How can a person learn to truly voice out their emotions or feeling through the music they play? Ooh, this is a really tricky question. It's got a lot to do with finding a way of relating to the music and then being able to move to the music. For me personally, it's about moving to the music. I love to dance. If I find myself dancing to music and just swaying, and it's literally telling me and telling my body that I am moved by the music. When you truly understand that yourself, then you'll be able to project it into your own performance. That's all the questions. Oh my gosh, you guys are incredible. I just want to leave off by saying that you guys are our future. I have so much hope in what you guys have to offer in terms of music. You have a very wonderful teacher, Claudia. Thank you so much for having me explain my story to you all. I hope it helped you.